Hello everybody and welcome to the 8th episode of Fahzaly Advice. I do want to say thank you to my viewers, to my supporters, and to everybody that has submitted. I truly do hope that you found value in my words and that I have been able to help somebody. Thank you so very much for giving me that chance. And this episode is going to be a little bit different. We actually have 3 submissions that we're going to go into, and one of them is actually, in fact, an appreciation that was sent in to the fahzalyadvice@gmail.com email. And I just wanted to bring some attention and to say thank you to the submitter whose name is Blage. And they write, "Thank you for being one of the best Digimon info guys. You helped me learn more about Digimon. Also, keep going. You will make it. Just leave the haters behind. They are just jealous of the good content you provide. The same content that thousands happily watch and enjoy. Either a smile or a laugh, or either a laugh or a smile, because the people want to learn more. Again, thank you and keep up the good work. Good luck. P.S. I don't really need to be anonymous. Blage." Now, I just put Blage instead of the full name, as well as I wasn't going to put the email there, obviously, because that would be unnecessary. I just do appreciate your words, your kindness, and the fact that you do enjoy my content. Specifically on TikTok is where I talk a lot about Digimon lore and a myriad of other lore. But, I just truly wanted to say thank you, because I truly did appreciate that. Now, let's get on into the next submission that has been asking for some help. Alrighty then, now let's get in onto that next submission, shall we? "Dear Fahza, my main way to show people I care is to give them gifts. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I'm a pretty great gift giver. I do everything I can to make sure I find out what someone wants for Christmas or their birthday, because nothing beats seeing someone's face light up when they get something that they've been wanting. However, recently, I celebrated my birthday, and not a single person got me a gift. I know I sound incredibly selfish, but it was honestly pretty heartbreaking. I am an adult, and I know I shouldn't expect gifts. It'd just be nice. I'm actually very upset over all of this, and I have been considering that maybe I've been doing too much. Do I have the right to be upset? I don't know what to do here. Signed, The Giving Tree." Well, let's get on into this. Giving Tree, I understand how disheartening it can feel when you try so hard and you give so much and you get nothing in return. But I want you to remember something that you said in the very beginning of this, before we get to the bigger issue here, which is, because I can assume as much because of how you wrote it, but how important it is to see the joy on someone's face when you give them the right gift. I want you to remember that that's the reason why you did what you did, you do what you do, why you're so generous. Never forget that. Now, when it comes to what happened to you with you as you celebrated your birthday, first off, happy birthday, Giving Tree. I also did not miss the fact that you used a little bit of Silverstein in your name. I actually do appreciate that little allusion there. Now, that can be very disheartening and heartbreaking, yes. To have a birthday and no one give a gift or a consideration, that just might seem like people just don't care in a way. And I'm not saying that gifts equate to caring. I'm just simply understanding where you're coming from, Giving Tree. I do. And when it comes to, do you have the right to be upset or anything like that, I want you to remember this, and I want you to take this to heart, because it's something that's very important that a lot of people seem to just discredit because of considering others. And I get it, and I understand, and there's nothing wrong with considering other people. There isn't. But it's always done at the expense of oneself. And it never should be that way. It doesn't need to be that way. But when it comes to how you feel, it's not about whether or not you have the right, whether or not it's valid. It is how you feel. That in its own right is valid. You need not an explanation, and you need not anybody's approval to feel how you feel. You are a living being with your own emotions, your own experiences, your own heart, and your own responses to what you may experience. And all of that is valid, and you have the right to all of that. Never think that you need someone to tell you that that's valid. Please, because that is yours and yours alone. How you feel, no matter how bad it may be, the good, the bad, and everything in between, is yours. And it is what makes us human. I apologize, I just need to take a drink. But don't let anybody else take that away from you. Don't let anybody ever make you think that you need permission for that, because you do not. You never need anybody's permission to be human and to feel. Alright? Now, this is a very slippery slope when it comes to this thought process about whether or not you deserve or are entitled to gifts. Truly, at the end of the day, ultimately when it comes down to it, none of us are entitled to anything. And the only thing that we are deserving of is what we experience. And I'm not saying that you deserve every bad thing that comes your way. I'm saying that you deserve the chance that what that struggle may give to you may help you become. And that's a difficult thing to see when you're going through the shit of it. But the truth is, it's all part of an opportunity for you to become better. Because every day we are different people and we change in one way or another, be it for the better or for the worse. But we still change. And no matter what, we can't go back. We can't take back what's changed. We can't take back what we've experienced. There's a totality to living life and what time has to offer us. And it's something that we have to come to accept as we live and experience life. And it's not that it's bad or good. It's life. But when it comes down to it, life in itself is a gift. And it's something that you have to relish every moment of. Because it's given to you and you alone. And no one's going to take it away from you. But you have the right to give it to anyone. That time, your mind, and what you want to do. Now, I do apologize if my voice does sound a little bit different. I might be just a little bit under the weather, but this is something that I really wanted to do because Fahzaly Advice is a passion project of mine, and it's something that matters a lot to me. So I am going to do my best to push through and make this content, and hopefully it won't be too terrible to listen to me. Give me one moment though. I am just going to stand up for just a second to get a drink of water, but I'm going to attempt to keep talking while I do this. As it does help me continue to speak. Now, Giving Tree, I do apologize if I digressed there. Let's continue on with this particular subject. Now, as an adult, I get what you're saying there, but it's also nice. It would just be nice to get a gift, to be appreciated, and to see it in return. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a natural feeling to have. It is. But ultimately, what you have to do is consider how you're going to respond. Is it going to matter so much to you that you're going to change who you are? Or are you going to continue to be you? But there's nothing wrong with being selective with your gifts. There's nothing wrong with pulling back and reconsidering. There isn't. But, apologies. Never let other people change you. Only change when you decide to, for yourself, for what you want. Because that's more important than changing to appease others. Alright? So I think, Giving Tree, that this is a moment to step back and reevaluate. Don't change who you are in response to other people. Change who you are because you want to be this person. Because that's the change that matters, like I said. And when it comes to whatever you do in this life, it's about what you want. What do you want, my friend? What do you want, Giving Tree? That will answer your question of what to do here. And I know that you might be looking for a clear-cut answer. But the clearest cut answer I can give to you is to search for an answer to that question of what do you want? Because that matters more than anything here. That does. Because you sound like an amazing, caring, generous person. And to be able to recognize these things is very mature. But like I said earlier, never let anybody have the power of giving you approval for how you feel. That is part of the control that you have, is that you allow yourself, and only yourself can allow you to do this, to feel, to be you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Alright? No matter what anybody may have said, no matter what you may believe at the moment, you are amazing. You are. You are alive today. And that is one of the most amazing things. So, Giving Tree, consider yourself. Consider what you want. And act accordingly. Alright? And in truth, another thing to think about is who your friends are. Who you're spending effort on. Because that is also to be considered. Because that is your time, your mind, and your heart. And like I said, these are gifts and should be treated thusly. They should be cherished. And if your so-called friends do not cherish you, then maybe it's time to consider and move forward. There's nothing wrong with that. There are times where we hold so tightly to people because of the fact that for a time they were there. And in that time they were wonderful. And we got to thank them for that. But that does not mean that they have the privilege to continue on in your life. They do not have the privilege to continue with your time or your mind. That's a choice that you have to make. So ultimately, if these people, your friends, don't seem to return how you feel or the fact that you care, maybe your absence won't matter to them. And maybe it's time for you to find people that will care, because you deserve that. Things to think about, my friend. Things to think about. I do hope you found value in what I said, Giving Tree, And I truly do appreciate your submission. Now then, listeners, let's move on to the next submission, shall we?
Well, hey everybody! Did you know that asianfahzagamer has a Patreon?
That's right, and Random Skull is here to help tell you about it!
And that's right, we're doing this announcement together!
And when you subscribe to Patreon, you get to see content early, and of course, make requests for content on YouTube, and even on Twitch and TikTok. It's all up to you!
And of course, if you want to support asianfahzagamer, check out these links! And of course, there are also links in the link tree!
And remember, when you subscribe to Patreon, you can also leave a message saying that Random Skull is better than Mr. Announcer.
Now, was that even really necessary?
Alrighty then, welcome back. Now, I got myself some water, so hopefully that will tide me over for the rest of this particular episode. Now then, let's get on into the final submission, shall we? Which comes to us from the Shoe Friend. And they write, Dear Fahza, so, I have a friend who has asked me for advice, and I thought, who else to ask for advice but the Fahza himself? This friend has developed a huge crush on a friend who is mutuals between himself and 3 others. Now this mutual, she has been flirting with my friend and one of the other friends a lot. My friend has developed a pretty substantial crush on her, the mutual, and has been getting really bad depressive episodes because of all the flirting. His question was, should he pursue this crush or just crush it now before he gets hurt? Signed, the Shoe Friend. Alrighty then, let's get right into this one, shall we? Now, first off, the Shoe Friend, I do appreciate you bringing this quandary to me. And I appreciate your trusting me in what I have to say in this particular situation. Now, I personally am pretty familiar with this particular love triangle-esque like situation, and it's not exactly a fun situation to be in. But my solution is something that may be quite difficult for a lot of people, but this is coming from somebody who was essentially raised to squash subtext out of the situation and say what you mean and mean what you say. And in this instance, that might alleviate a lot of what your friend is going through. And I hate to say it, but a lot of your friend's suffering is self-imposed, as they do not see the Occam's razor in this particular situation. In which the solution lies in being truthful. Now, when it comes down to it, your friend's depressive states seem to come from there's flirting, but there's questions without answers. And that's not a fun place to be. It's never a fun place to be for anyone when you're essentially in a state of purgatory where you don't know where it's going to go. But you'll never find out where it's going to go till you face the hard questions, till you actually ask them. And what your friend is afraid of here seems to be asking that question. Because flirting is fun and all. And when it comes down to it, everybody interacts in different ways. And flirting is a matter of perception as well. And I'm not saying that your friend is in the wrong here. I'm just saying it is a matter of perception. To some people, they perceive being flirtatious as nothing more than that. And there needs to be context and nuance, as always needed to be stated. Context and nuance in these situations that needs to be considered. And because of that, your friend needs to consider what the situation is here. Is this particular mutual single? if this mutual is single and being flirtatious, is this anything new? Or is this something that they've done or have continued to do since they've known her? And if that's the case, then is your friend reading too much into it? Either way, ultimately, these questions can only be answered by going directly to the source, which is this particular mutual who is flirting with your friend and the other friend, and your friend has a crush on. One moment, we are actually going to pause this for a second. I'm going to go get some water and we're going to come right back to it. I do apologize, everybody. I just needed to get a little bit of water to be able to continue on. Now, let's get back into the subject here, shall we? When it comes to your friend, the shoe friend, ultimately, like I said, these questions can only really be answered by going directly to the source. And I'm not saying that's going to be easy for your friend. No. For most part, a lot of people have a lot of anxiety when it comes to facing these things directly. And I completely understand. If it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it. But what comes from not answering the question? Nothing more than not knowing. But what comes from answering the question? A finality. Whether or not it's the answer you want, you will have an answer. And ultimately, that might be better than just sitting there wondering what could have been. Because you don't know. Your friend doesn't know. Anyone who's in this situation will never know until they face it. Until they actually are willing to be courageous. Because I want you to remind your friend of something very important that a lot of people have a very huge misconception on. That courage isn't being fearless. Courage is being able to step forward with a heart full of fear. It's not being devoid of it. It's facing it. It's having it, holding it, owning it. To be fearless is to be foolish. Your friend needs to gather his courage. As difficult as it may be, it will be worth it. But there will be questions that will be answered. And ultimately, yes, it's going to hurt if the answer is not what they want. But your friend will be able to move forward. And I want everybody who listens to Fahzaly Advice to remember this. That it's not about relationships because you think you need this. Relationship is a partnership. It's not about fulfilling a need. It's about being able to find someone to be you with, to walk down a path together, wholeheartedly, the good, the bad, and everything in between, to be able to face what you're not ready to face, but face it together and to grow. That is what a relationship is. It's not a fulfillment of carnal need. It's not a fulfillment of even something such as superfluous as what may be seemingly romantic feelings, but could be nothing more than attraction. But attractions can grow into something greater if you're willing to allow it to grow. If you have the courage to do it. And it's okay if you don't think you're in that, if your friend doesn't think that they're in the place to be able to do that, or if anybody who's watching this in this particular position feels like you're ready to do it. Don't force yourself to do something you're not ready. But you also need to ask yourself, when will you be ready? When will you stop letting the excuses guide you and you start making choices and action? Because there's a very famous quote said by a very famous person, John Lennon. Life happens while you're busy making plans. Now, I may have paraphrased that, But the sentiment is there. What are you waiting for? If you have questions, find the answers. Ask the questions. Don't just sit there wondering. Go explore. I know how scary it can be. There's nothing wrong with that. But the real thing that you will be doing a disservice, that your friend will be doing a disservice to, anybody in this situation will be doing a disservice to them, is that they will not explore a possibility because they allowed for fear to stop them. So, to your friend, hopefully they watch this and I will speak to them directly here. You, friend of the shoe friend, need to take hold of your life. No one else will. If you have questions, go find answers. If you want love, go find it. Don't let anything hold you back. Because what's the point? What's the point of sitting there, holding back? Who the heck are you holding back for? You don't have any need to do that. Life is here to be lived, to be experienced, to be suffered, to feel the pain of, to feel the joy in everything. It's all part of life. Don't stop yourself from experiencing it. And this is a message directly to the friend of the shoe friend. Because it's not going to get any better if you just run away. Problems don't go away when you run away. They're there. They may change. The face may be different. But the problem will continue until you face it. And that doesn't make it go away. It just makes you better prepared to face it, to continue to face it, and to one day overcome it. And to be better ready and equipped for the next problem that may come. But that's part of living. Live. All of you. For life will never be handed to you. It must be taken. It must be experienced, to be beheld for all that it has to offer. As scary as that may be, as daunting as that path may seem, y'all can do it. Friend of the shoe friend, you can do it. You can. You can face it, and you will be better for it. I promise you. And it might not seem like it if you don't get the answer you want. But life has a funny way of bringing you the lessons, whether or not they're kind. You will be better for it. So face it, friend of the shoe friend. I hope you watch this. I hope that the shoe friend shows this to you, and that you find value in what I have to say. I truly do appreciate all of you who have watched, who have listened, and I do hope that you like, share, and subscribe for more. I appreciate you, and now it's time to get going. Love train rolling on through. Choo choo. I love every single freaking one of you. Well, everybody, that's the end of Fahzaly Advice. I hope you did enjoy this episode and you found some value in what I said. And of course, if you are interested in participating, if you need some advice or some perspective, feel free to email the address at the end of this part. And remember, all submissions are 100% anonymous. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Need some perspective? Need some advice? Want your submission read on podcast? Well, email Faja at fahzalyadvice@gmail.com. And remember, all submissions are 100% anonymous unless requested upon.